Welcome to Scouting Movies. Today we're talking about a remake of a 1950s era horror film. It's called The Blob. If you've seen it, if you've seen either the original or this 1988 remake, we're going to be talking about it. And we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of sequels, or not sequels, sorry, remakes. So that's going to be part of our discussion today. So let's dive into the Blob and talk about the synopsis, kind of setting the scene for what this is. So it's a remake of the 1958 Steve McQueen cult classic, but this time it's cranked up with Reagan era energy, gallons of practical effects, zero chill. The setup is classic sci-fi horror, mysterious pinkish purplish ooze crashes down from space and starts absorbing everyone and everything in its path. Melting skin, crushing bones, ruining dates in small town America. Teenagers Meg, played by Shawnee Smith, and Brian, played by Kevin Dillon with a not so great mullet, find themselves trying to stop the sentient space jello thing from eating the entire town. And not no one, not the cops, not the military, not the kid sidekicks are safe. So, let's talk about the remakes first. If you've seen the original The Blob, made again in 1958, you know it was more of a gee whiz kind of 1950s drive-in flick where the monster, when you did see it, looked like expired jam, and most of the action involved people yelling or backing away, and they did as much as they could to not actually show the creature, at least in its full. They would either show really up close or they would show very uh, brief segments of it because it cost too much money, and they didn't have the kind of money to show that kind of thing, and b the effects weren't that good in 1958, and so it was clearly fake, and they didn't want to create a horror film where the monster was everything and the monster wasn't that good. So that was part of the problem back then. This remake is different. So there's two reasons to make to do a remake, two good reasons at least. One is that the story wasn't that good and they need to improve it, they need to fix it. Two is that the technology has improved so drastically that you can make the movie in a better way than the original one had, and you can make it scarier and more involved. uh, in this case, the Blob accomplishes a little bit of both of those. The original 1958 film is a cult classic, but it's not very good. Again, it's gee whiz kind of acting, kind of dialogue that obviously the money, if there was any money, was spent on trying to create a creature that wasn't that good anyway. And the technology had drastically improved from 1958 to 1988, 30 years. And so they could really lean into creating this monster and making it as good as possible. And that's what happened here. Uh, the creature effects are next level, especially for the time period that it was taking place. It's practical, it's disgusting, it's completely unhinged. Bodies melt, faces split open, torsos get vacuum sucked into sinks. It's absolutely vicious. It's R-rated at the because that's what they wanted to do here, was create a monster that truly scares, that truly terrifies, that looks great, that looks terrifying, and they accomplished that. They didn't waste a cent. Almost all of the film's budget is spent on the creature effects, and again, it's everything is spent right there. The Blob isn't just a scary monster; it's a violent, flesh-digesting punishment for everyone who underestimates it. Uh, now, I just said that all of the money was spent on the character, and I also said that one of the reasons to remake a movie was that the first one wasn't that good. Uh, Very little of the money is actually spent on actors that can act or screenwriters that can write, because it's not winning any awards for screenwriting or acting. I'll tell you that. A lot of the dialogue is oof. Early scenes play out like they were written by AI, trained exclusively on bad 80s teen slasher scripts. It opens with two kids sneaking into a horror movie and delivering lines so awkward that you can hear the script pages crinkling. Most of the supporting cast is flat as a pancake, with conversations that sound like they were borrowed from five other horror films that were playing at the same time. Here's the twist, though. Somehow, by the end of it, you kind of care. Mostly, it's because of Shawnee Smith. She starts out like she's reading cue cards, just as bad as everybody else. But throughout the course of the movie, she really improves as an actor until she becomes badass by the end of it. And you really care about her. You care about what she's doing, and she's turning into this really cool heroine where she's leaping off things, she's saving lives, she's plunging pickaxes into monsters and launching grenades. I mean, legitimate horror heroine mode engaged here. Uh, you can't say the same about the other actors or the other characters in the film. Child actors are always kind of coin flip if they're going to be believable or if they're going to be just kids, and in this case they're just kids. They're not believable. Their lines are probably handed to them by the director. They don't know what they're saying. They don't know what it means. They don't know how to act. A lot of the other characters are not much better. Everyone but Shawnee Smith is really this cardboard kind of cutout of character that they're spending pennies on the dollar to hire to play in these parts. But again, Shawnee Smith, I gotta call her out. She was really good by the end of it. Let's be clear though, the Blob is not here to make friends. This thing kills people hard and fast. It doesn't matter if you're a scientist, a cheerleader, a kid. Uh, when the Blob grabs you, it melts you on contact, and it's really graphic. It's legitimately terrifying to watch the damage that this inflicts. Uh, there was no sense that they wanted to make this PG or PG-13. This was R from the beginning, and the reason is not to necessarily be as R-rated as possible. The reason was to show off the monster, to show off the horrible things that it can do, and the technology that's in play. Remember, the original one back in 1958 was very underused because of the technology at the time. You didn't really get to see a whole lot from the monster, and this time they are fixing that immediately. You are seeing exactly what the monster can do in its absolute goriest best. Uh, for all the gooey greatness here, the movie has some obvious weak points, and I've talked about the acting and the screenwriting. It's really thin. The character development is basically non-existent. Most of the tension comes from okay, who's getting dissolved next, and how is it going to happen, instead of any kind of deeper narrative. There's not even with Shawnee Smith's character, there's not much character development there. She has these friends and these boyfriends and things like that that are getting literally eaten, and she's just you know it is what it is, kind of a deal. Not because she's a bad actor. I think she's great near the end of the movie, but it's because the script doesn't call for any kind of pause for understanding the impact of losing these people in her life, because that's not part of the script. So the movie leans heavily on its gore to distract from that. I think that's part of its use here is to show, look what we can do. Quick, melt someone before the audience can see any holes in this kind of character development. And honestly, the strategy kind of works. I mean, it's worth it to see what the monster is doing. At the end of the day, the Blob is exactly what a horror remake should be. It takes a cheesy original, beefs it up with modern effects, as far as 1988 modern you can get at that point, and delivers a slick, mean, entertaining monster flick. It's got problems, no doubt. Cringe dialogue, bad character development, bad acting for most of the characters, a little too much reliance on splatter of brains and goo and blood and skin and all that. But it has a little bit of heart in there, especially from Shawnee Smith's character, who does her absolute best. A whole lot of unapologetic fun. It's not quite a masterpiece, but it's the remake that we needed for this kind of film. It's an absolute blast for horror fans. Just don't watch it while eating Jello or pudding or something like that. So wrapping up the Blob, what do you think? Have you seen it? Is it an underrated gem, or just another slime-soaked reboot? I'm going to give it a grade here. I'm going to give it a B minus. It's not quite to the levels of great horror, but it accomplishes what it set out to do. Uh, you know, Compared against other films of its kind, if this was trying to be an Oscar-winning screenwriting thing, it would get much lower. It would get a C or so, but it's not trying to do that. It's trying to fix a sequel, or fix a remake, I should say, and it accomplishes everything that it sets out to do as far as that goes. Again, there's still holes, so I'm giving it a B minus. But remember, if a meteor lands next to you, maybe don't poke it with a stick. See you next time.